Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're checking out a rune list for Unlimited. It is a burn rune list. They are reasonably different to rotation, of course, because the available cards are very different when it comes to burn lists. Of course, Golem is still played because he's just crazy good. Otherwise though, most of the other cards are pretty much different. You're heavily reliant on the Earth Sigils in this variation, which is typical of Earth Rune in any way, shape or form when you're running a burn rune deck in Unlimited, since they are such good cards. You have so many options for damage as far as storm, ping effects, straight up burn effects like piercing rune or mutagenic even. Really good overall coverage and does a really nice job of getting out really quick games. Whether you're going to win or lose though can really be decided in those first 3 to 4 turns, where if you don't have a setup and get a good amount of damage in, typically you will lose on the back end, so you do have to balance that pretty nicely. Otherwise though, we are going to get right into it and take a look. So for the first game here, we are playing against RuneCraft. RuneCraft doesn't shock me all that much. So really just aiming for anything good and early. Witch's Cauldron is probably the ideal turn 1 play you're looking for, since it's very easy to play out, has a great effect, and really combos nicely with something like Starseeker's Telescope, which we did draw. So that means our turn 2 is looking really good. We can go into Starseers and into Silent Laboratory, and in this case, even double Starseeker, which gives us at least 3 draws this turn, which is pretty amazing. It's a good way to get your hand nice and stocked up in that early game. Plus, we still end up with 2 Earth Sigils on board on turn 2 and a 2/2 follower. So we're looking at a very start. Magic Illusionist does a wonderful job, since he does basically recoup himself over and over again. And really all you can do is ping face as much as possible while also balancing your board presence. So Magic Illusionist, again, great card, does a really good job when used correctly, and in this case, should survive pretty easily, getting us more and more damage to face. And once you kind of get to turn 6, that's where you're looking at using some of your big cards, so Master Mage, Mutagenic, cards like that. We did end up getting Roosted, which is a little dangerous. Dragon, honestly, can be an absolute nightmare. I'm actually thinking that will probably be our next video, to be honest. The Phoenix Roost Dragons can just be really hard to deal with. So I decided to completely swap this hand out, looking for anything that I might be able to use to my advantage, and didn't really find a lot, but we do get a reasonable amount of damage in. Since that's all we can really do this turn, is go for as much damage as possible, so that when our opponent is weak, we just take them out. Bahamut, I'd rather see that honestly than a Zeal combo, so that's actually not too bad. This turn though is going to be super awkward, and I probably should have went for the Emily's first instead, made that line of play, went for ping effects overall, probably would have been a bit better than what I did here, since there wasn't really a lot else I could do. I was hoping actually that I could get 3 pings to face at least. That would have been the nicer effect. At least that would have left them on 1. Left us with a better chance at winning. Actually, I think we probably could have won with Verdict Ritual. No, we would have still needed to get a Verdict Ritual, so it wouldn't have worked that way. But we would have been close, and that would have been the main thing. But luckily, it doesn't look like they've really got anything too crazy. Phoenix Roost and Zeal isn't going to do a lot, since they need to clear at least 2 followers here, no matter what, before they can even go face. So we did get a little bit lucky, and that definitely helped us out and left us with plenty of room to go for lethal this turn. Piercing Rune, Ritual, and game over. For the next match, we are going up against Haven. Haven usually presents itself pretty well, to be honest. It can be quite strong and unlimited, depending on the variation you go in with. But usually Stormhaven and Elena at the moment have been really dominating as far as Haven decks go. We start off with another really good hand. Witch's Cauldron and Silent Laboratory are great. I did not play the Witch's Cauldron though, which was a huge error on my part. Definitely probably should have went for that, but at the same time, I was trying to hold it for Emily. I was thinking, hey, I might be able to use that in combination, but once I thought about it, I decided, no, that's probably not a good idea to hold on to my Earth Sigils too hard in the early game, since usually that is what will cripple us. But I at least gave it a shot here, so we could try and get some extra value. Black Inscription unfortunately ruining any good Cauldron play. Luckily, Starseer's Telescope. And we're still going to get 5 damage this turn, which is a really nice chunk of damage actually. Plus a draw and a follower, so I can't really complain too much about that. So if we can remain 1 follower on board, we've got a nice piercing rune set up. Then we just really need to take advantage of Master Mage Levi on turn 6 for a good chunk of damage. It looks like they are leaving these up, so we've got at least 8 damage this turn alone, which is really good. And we're set up for the Master Mage on 6 now with this Earth Sigil on board, so all we really need to do is keep up the damage. And with only 6 health left, double Master Mage would just end this. Or, in this case, a Master Mage and a follower, so if they don't completely wipe us out, we should be fine. Although this Robo Falcon does kind of dash my dreams a little bit, especially seeing Black Inscription, so they are going to completely wipe the board. Fortunately, Master Mage will wipe their board in turn, leaving them with just 3 health, but odds are they will heal thanks to, of course, the Robo play, which will get them the healing that they're going to need to, of course, stay out of range. Or at least out of range of our normal cards. Piercing Rune is still lethal if they only heal once. Nice, Steel Wing. That's a pretty decent play. The Repair Mode, and that's it. They left us with 2 perfect targets for Piercing Rune, and that will be game. Couldn't have asked for a much better way to wrap that up with double Piercing Rune. Otherwise we would have had to drag out probably one more turn with the Master Mage. So wrapping this up, this deck is pretty decent. It does a good job in the early game. It's not the super cheapest, but it is only a 6 legendary deck, with 3 of them being Rune Fist, which could potentially be swapped out for any other valuable Earth Rune card. I mean, there's a few other, there's the other Witch legendary. I've completely blanked. That gives you Witch's Cauldron. That would be quite good if you want to replace it with that. Otherwise, you could just find another kind of Earth Sigil support card that does some maybe burn damage to replace it. But really, the Golem is definitely the big one you'd stack overall, and is still half decent. So if you guys did enjoy this video and you want to check out more like it, check out my channel. There is heaps and heaps of decks on there. We cover one every single day at this rate, so hopefully you guys are enjoying that. Otherwise, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. Find the link in the description below. Until next time, guys, see ya.